Hi everybody, doing my first clan war recap with PotOfGold. We're looking for win number 60, and we've been doing pretty well lately, so we were pretty confident that we're going to be able to pull this off, but we got a competitive war here. Yes, we definitely had a tough opponent facing us. They kind of stuck with us all the way, and we'll let you know how it turns out here. But first of all, I want to show the very first attack from our team. As the leader, I like to kind of go in and take the lead and make sure that we get some momentum built up. So for this army, I have a Go Hog set up, just the one golem in the kill squad. Of course, I start off with the Clan Castle Lure, make sure that I use a poison spell to take out all but a few of the dragon's hit points out of the Clan Castle troops. And then instead of using a second poison spell, I tend to just go ahead and use a few troops to go ahead and lure them out and take care of the last bit of it. So as that's getting taken care of, I got that archer right on the left side there to go ahead and get him out. And then I'll use a few more archers, maybe the rest of them here, to go ahead and finish them off. Sometimes it takes a couple wizards, but I'd rather do that than use up a whole spell in order to take care of the Clan Castle troops. So with this, I send in the kill squad. I'm trying to look to get to that archer queen since she was on the outside and make it easy for me. And then, of course, I'm going to try to get the wizards to do their job of funneling in my heroes and golems. A couple wall breakers coming in to make sure that they can get in a little bit quicker into the middle. Now, what I'm going to do here in just a second is, I got the hogs going out here now. They're coming in from the left side, kind of the lower left side. And just making sure that I was being pretty vigilant about making sure that the heal spells were covering them, especially where I anticipated any possible encroaches upon giant bombs, but also I want to make sure that the wizard towers got them. So it looks like I got lucky. One of my hogs just kind of strayed just enough to trigger one of the giant bombs, and then so the other one wasn't too big of a problem for me. And then it turns out the other giant bombs didn't really do much either. As you can see, I'm pretty much handling the defenses as well as I can with the hog riders. And I was pretty pleased with that, because if the Hog Riders don't do too well, you turn a 3-star battle into a 1-star battle pretty easily with the Go Hog, in my experience. I'll throw out the last couple of wizards and archers up there at the top right to go ahead and start with the cleanups, because at this point I've seen that almost all the defenses are gone. My Archer Queen is still safe, also my Barbarian King as well, and they're still going up the middle. See those giant bombs that were remaining? The Hogs didn't even get to them. They went outside already cleaning up, and so I knew that at that point I'm definitely safe, and definitely had enough time to get things taken care of. So this is a pretty good battle for me. I get really happy when I end up being able to pull off a successful Go Hog attack, and getting a little bit better at it as I go. So I hope to show you some more success in the future. But mainly I was really excited this time around because I wanted to set the tone, make sure that the clan was going to go ahead and enjoy not only seeing this battle, but make sure that it motivates them to be able to do well themselves. So that's about wraps it up from this particular one here. Of course, I got the 100%, and basically that's what I did there. Alright, next up here we have my second battle. This is with my second account, the Town Hall 7, you might be already a little bit familiar with. Now for this one, I pretty much hit the lightning on the right air defense there. And the plan is to go ahead and make sure that my dragons and other troops go ahead and go for that left air defense as soon as I can. You'll see that I used 2 wizards this time to make sure that the dragons funneled their way into the side. And since there was not really any defenses that were going to take those wizards out, I knew they were going to do a lot of damage for just 2 of them. And so I knew that was going to help me aim those dragons a lot closer into the air defense. And then once that's done, everything else is pretty much gravy. Now, this base was a Town Hall 8, but it only had the 2 air defenses, which was a big disadvantage, and it's why I moved up 4 spots. Instead of attacking my mirror this time around, I wanted to ensure that that base got taken care of so my other Town Hall 8s actually had an easier time in the war. And it does turn out to work out to our benefit because one of our Town Hall 8s ended up being able to go ahead and do some cleanup attacks instead and make it a lot easier and a lot less pressure on them. So this one was a pretty good one for me. Now, you might have seen this before if you've seen Duck Koala's channel. I'll make sure to provide a link to his video. Turns out we both have covered this war now for YouTube, and a couple of these attacks, the first one I just showed you, this one, and then the 4th one on the list here, are attacks that Duck Koala showed off. However, he's also shown off some attacks that I haven't, so you'll definitely want to see a little bit more of the action from his end to get a bigger picture of the war here. We definitely did such a great job, and so it's definitely worth checking out if you're trying to see how a great team effort is done. So the dragon's about to wrap things up here, and Yeah, that one was actually pretty easy for me. Normally the Town Hall 8 has 3 air defenses, otherwise I probably wouldn't have tried this one. Okay, so while that dragon battle actually earned my second base its 100th war star, turns out our number 6, Bahrain MCM, actually got his 300th war star from this war. So we had a few milestones going on. In fact, I also do want to mention that Doug Koala from the other channel, he also got his 100th war star during this war. So we had 3 different people with those kind of significant milestones. Well, Bahrain here got his by doing a go wipe attack. He pretty much did kind of one of the older styles of clan castle luring, where he basically made sure that the clan castle troops got drawn out to the corner or to the side somewhere, and we rely on a few troops to go ahead and clean them up. As you noticed earlier on, I didn't quite do mine the same way. I took advantage of the poison spell more, but you know, since our younger Town Hall 7s and Town Hall 8 bases don't exactly have the luxury of extra poison spells or something, they still pretty much like to do it in that way sometimes, to just go ahead and use troops to go ahead and save yourself the spells. Now, in this one, the spells were kind of used with some good timing, as well as the placement of the golems and the P.E.K.K.A. to make sure that they took the brunt of the force at first. What this does is it allows for the wall breakers to get in and do their damage without getting stung. If the wall breakers don't make it, a lot of times that can make the difference. Additionally, by getting the golems and the P.E.K.K.A.s in there as quickly as he did, he was able to successfully distract all of those other defenses, especially in the core, from being able to attack the wizards who were going to the outside, and some of them are even sneaking up on these defenses from behind, as you can see what they just did to that archer tower at the bottom. So overall, those kind of things, and being able to happen with such good timing, actually ended up making it so that the battle went very well in Bahrain's favor. So at the end, there's only these couple of defenses left. You've got just enough troops on the outside taking care of those outside structures to make sure that the P.E.K.K.A.s aren't too slow or the golems aren't too slow, and you end up losing out on time. So it was pretty much a convergence of factors that worked very well for this Town Hall 8 attack. Since P.E.K.K.A.s can be pretty tricky, they want to favor the outside usually. Bahrain did a pretty great job that time of making sure that at least one of them stayed toward the middle and did its damage, and maybe even take a few hits for the team. That way the rest of the troops, especially the wizards, can rely on their offense and not have to get stung. Alright, on that note, I'm going to bring you the third of attacks that Koala also showed on his video here. This one involves Noina pulling off a 3-star attack against the mirror, which is basically just the other number 5. That's how we define the mirrors. So yeah, one Hog Rider in here for the Clan Castle Lure. It does a pretty good job. For safety, if I'm going to use a Hog Riders for the Clan Castle Lure to at least get him out, I like to use 2 of them, but Noina did a good job needing just 1. The only small flaw with the lure here was that the poison spell being placed where it was didn't quite reach the balloons enough. Now, Noina does try to compensate for this by trying to bring out another archer or 2 to try to move the troops into the circle. But it took a little bit too long for that to happen, so the balloons didn't really get taken out. However, Noina knew how to adjust to this, because basically you just go back to that old school kind of tactic of using a few troops to move them around, and then you surround them with a few other troops. Next thing you know, those skeletons and balloons go down here. So yeah, Noina uses the wizards to take these out here. So yeah, at this rate now it's open for throwing in the golems now. The wizard's just outside of reach at the moment, but the golem didn't get quite in fast enough to help out that first wizard. Nonetheless, it turns its attention to the golems. Those other wizards are protected now, and they can start doing some damage on the outside. This is going to help with funneling the troops, which, as you can see with the walls the way they are, these walls are typical of an anti-barching base. So this looks more like something of a farming defense than a war defense. And yet the funneling still happened well enough on the one side, and the golems were still distracting enough of the defenses that the funnel did take good effect. The rage spell placed right here definitely gets the troops further inside a little bit more quickly. And you'll notice that a couple of these wizards here, they go in and out of these walls, but the rage helps kind of speed them up in the process and kind of helps it work out a bit. Now at this rate, the Archer Queen comes in. The Barbarian King's kind of helping stay in front of some of these wizards, but the P.E.K.K.A.s managed to stay outside. And when I saw this at the time, I thought that, oh man, the P.E.K.K.A.s are too far outside and we're not going to get 3 stars out of this. But because of the way the walls are bringing the P.E.K.K.A.s inside and out, eventually that was just going to end up meaning that the P.E.K.K.A.s are going to get pretty much close in enough that the damage gets done as if they had gone all the way inside. And now at the same time, the raid spell comes along at the right time here, or I believe that was the raid spell. And that, with the P.E.K.K.A.s being right back in at the right time, was a great timing of placement in order to make sure that the rest of the core of that base got cleaned out. So now at this rate, it's just a matter of making sure that what defenses are left are being taken out while they're distracted upon the P.E.K.K.A.s and the Barbarian King. Now you'll kind of notice toward the end here, it's starting to seem that it's getting a little bit close here. It looks like it could go either way still, because the P.E.K.K.A.s now at this point, they're pretty weak. The Barbarians pretty weak, and it looks like they can get taken out. And if that happens, then the rest of the troops are going to be quite vulnerable. So yeah, it was a pretty big fight on that. Now Noinen also does a good job here, if you notice, of putting the archers, those very few leftover troops, on the outside to start picking off those outer structures at the end. It's a very good tactic to do this because of how it makes sure that cleanup goes more quickly and things are taken care of. Okay, for our fifth battle, which incidentally I want to point out that this is the fifth of 5 battles that we also did in order in the war. The 5 I've shown were the very first 5 that our team did, and this one is our number 8 Crazy Gabe going in for their number 8. Does a pretty good job of establishing that poison spell upon the dragon. So since that was a Town Hall 8 clan castle there, didn't look like it had the extra balloon come out quite yet if it had one. But the poison spell did the trick. Then, of course, we do the thing where we take an archer, draw him back out, and then just go ahead and take care of him with some extra troops, as opposed to using an extra dark spell on the for poison to take care of a clan castle lure. So yeah, the wizards go ahead and finish off the dragon, and then we're going to have some go wipe action here. So at this point, yeah, the golems are decently spread out. They target 2 separate defenses, but they're not too spread out that the defenses that they're up against are going to end up looking for other troops to fight. So this allows the troops that are behind more archers than I'm typically accustomed to in a go wipe, but he pulls it off with this one because he makes sure that for the most part these troops that he's deployed are in fact sticking around by the golems. Now he throws in a few hogs to go ahead and see what he can do to get inside the core of the base and go ahead and take out a few more defenses. This also allows the wall breakers to do their job. The golems are split up just enough that they're widespread, but not so widespread that they're not catching the attention of enough of the defenses. This allows the P.E.K.K.A.s, the Barbarian King, the other supporting troops here, even that straggling Hog Rider that's still left over, to do as much damage as possible. So you'll notice in a lot of these golem-centric kind of teams, you definitely want your golems, or in the case of air battles, lava hounds, to make sure that they go in and take as much of the heat as they can before the other troops start having their attention paid on them. So yeah, again, there's a spot right there where the golem takes on the giant bomb. Giant bombs aren't going to necessarily kill the golems pretty easily, so better have them take the heat than a stack of wizards or something like that. And so now at this point, we just got the one cannon left. It's going to get taken out pretty quickly. The rest of it is a cakewalk here, so Crazy Gabe got it done. A pretty nice successful effort that even surprised him a little bit when he got done with that battle. But yeah, definitely did a great job. Looking forward to more success from him. And definitely a pretty good attack to take a look at when especially he has the level 1 golems and the level 1 P.E.K.K.A.s and shows you can do some damage with them. Okay, managed to get some good sound going on with this battle here. So yeah, basically this is one that was my second attack. I went for my mirror this time to see if I could 3-star it. It's another Go Hog attack with the typical complement that I use. Made sure to get the poison spell on top of the troops. So it took out everything but the dragon. I had a few good spaces to pick from in order to make sure to lure them out and go ahead and take care of them. So went ahead and did that. Now at this point, basically I want to mention that this is the exception to the other battles. This is actually a 2-star attack, but I figured I wanted to show kind of what kind of a difference an unsuccessful Go Hog kind of looks like. And to me, yeah, unsuccessful means it's not a 3-star attack in war. Now, things seem to start off pretty okay. I'm getting a lot of the outside buildings taken care of. The golem is getting inside already, and the heroes are going to go right in the middle too. So I was starting to feel pretty confident about this. Now, get the Hog Riders in there, and I went aiming for the Wizard Towers first thing. If I can get those over with, the splash damage, it's not going to be too much of a concern to me later. Now, where I do get concerned is just I kind of fumbled a little bit on a bit of the heal spell placement. See how they overlapped a little bit? You don't always want to do that. You want to kind of spread out just enough. But at the same time, you've got to make sure that you've accounted for the giant bombs, which I did not do so well, since there weren't really a lot of spots to put a lot of packed up giant bombs together. I wasn't expecting the double bombs, and so I was kind of a little bit cavalier when I did this. So as a result, I pretty much used my last heal spell right there, and you can see there's still that whole section of the base where I don't have something to protect the hogs in with another heal spell. And I still have those wizard towers to go up top. They're getting taken care of, but there was just enough damage being done that it seemed to just go ahead and knock me out. And also the remaining hogs do end up getting diverted. They take that last giant bomb, and they don't get to come back in to handle the rest of the defenses, and that's where things ended up going south. So when you do a Go Hog attack, or any kind of Hog Rider heavy attack, definitely make sure you can account for where the giant bombs are. But that's also a good tip to have in any kind of a ground-based army that you're using. Okay, so we have our last offensive replay I want to show for this war. This is our number 3 Taiga going against their number 4. Since I already taken care of number 2 and number 3, that allowed Taiga to move down just a little bit and handle some of that. Now, here's what I really like. He went with the Lava Loon, which I don't have much experience with. I haven't done too many air battles in war since probably mid-Town Hall 8, when the dragons stopped becoming as useful to me. I went ahead and focused on Go Wipe and similar attacks on the ground. So it was really exciting for me to see this one. Did a pretty good job so far of throwing out a kill squad, which essentially ends up amounting to just the heroes. But it is enough to distract a couple of the defenses. Now, with the Expos being down to the ground, this is especially why it was good for Taiga to go after the base like he did with this. The Lava Hounds going after each half of the air defenses. Now, they kind of do get taken... Well, the first Lava Hound does get taken care of kind of quickly, but does the job just long enough for the balloons to do their work. The rage spells are placed pretty well to get the Lava Hounds quickly ahead of the balloons in order to take over the other air defenses. And so as a result, it gives the balloons some leeway in being able to take out the other defenses. And then so finally when the Lava Hounds get taken out, the air defenses are pretty much well under control. The air defenses were a little bit towards the outside of the base, which might have been to the detriment of the defender here. But now with the Lava Hound taken out, the Lava Pups are doing their cleanup jobs. The balloons are handling the last of the bases, or the last of the defenses rather, and then it's field day on the rest of it. I was really excited to watch this attack. The minions come in with a good cleanup effort as well to get in there and get the Town Hall. Because one of the things you do have to worry about with heavy balloons is making sure that they do things fast enough. However, that's exactly what happened, and I see an air attack for 3 stars at Town Hall 9, and that makes me happy. Alrighty, so at this point what you're about to see is their number 1 attacking me. But that's not the only defensive replay you're going to see, because let me set the stage for you here. As it turns out, they're down by 2 stars. It's 42-40 at this point. Each of their top 3 attackers has their second attack remaining. However, my base is the only base that does not have 2 stars picked up on it. In fact, no one had picked up any stars on it yet. They basically saved me for last. So here's what's going to happen now. Their number 1's going to try and go for me. Now, if they get 2 out of the 3 stars against me, which I'm kind of used to in wars, what will happen is they're going to win by virtue of the tiebreaker. So no more stars need to be gained. They won't have to worry about it anymore. So this guy comes in with a Hog Rider heavy attack. He's got some Town Hall 10 level troops because he was the single Town Hall 10 on the opposing side. And that was getting me a little bit worried. I mean, usually if a Town Hall 10 attacks a Town Hall 9 base, there's a pretty good chance of a 3-star action, especially in a war clan as good as the one that we faced. Now, it seems like part of the problem here with them attacking me is they spread out the Hog Riders too much. There are times when you don't want to swarm them all in one group. The free spell in the middle kind of actually doesn't do much either. I don't see the free spells doing a whole lot of help except for Town Hall 10 bases versus Inferno Towers. I'm sure they have their usefulness, which is why Town Hall 9 got him in their Town Hall 11 update, but they didn't really seem to do that much here. Now here's the other huge mistake. You're going to end up seeing that the Clan Castle troops on my defense, I happen to have a dragon, a Valkyrie, and a minion in it. And they didn't really address it well enough. You're definitely going to see in Koala's replay of this as well that the Valkyrie, you see, is at the bottom now, and it's just nailing the troops that otherwise would be cleaning up pretty well. There was also no answer for the dragon until well into the battle, so after it's all said and done, the only troops that are remaining at the end of this are the heroes. Now, because the heroes are at full health, and they're pretty strong right now, they're going to do enough damage to get a star. But as you can see, what's happening is that they're going to be stymied here by the Clan Castle troops. They're slowed down a little bit. I still have an Expo in power. The Expo was pretty clutch, as Koala agreed with. So at this point, you know, it's looking pretty good. If their number one's only getting 1 star against me, it's going to look pretty challenging for their other 2 guys, being the number 2 and number 3 guys, to be able to get the 2nd star out of me. However, it's still very doable, but in this battle, it's going in our favor. This puts the score to 42 to 41, and the rest of us in the clan are watching at the tail end of this war right now. We're less than an hour to go here, and things are very tense. So their number 3 tries next. And he goes for just 1 Hog Rider this time for trying to get the Clan Castle lure, which doesn't work. That's another big thing. The Clan Castle lure is something you really have to address in every war battle, and if you don't do it successfully, you're going to end up with worse results. Now, they go in with the Go Wipe situation here. Go Wipe's probably not the very best strategy to use in Town Hall 9, I've come to see. But at this rate, they've got 4 P.E.K.K.A.s running in here, including one from the Clan Castle. Now, the Golems do get in, the P.E.K.K.A.s get in pretty quickly enough, but as you can see, the Wizards were already being taken out by the outer defenses. They didn't funnel ideally for this base. The Clan Castle troops are coming in now at this point to defend for me. You can see the Barbarian King's getting worn down because he's only level 10. The Dragon's still on the move and, from my Clan Castle to do a lot of damage. And because these Wizards and the Archer Queen split off from the Golems, they're not getting the protection that they need. And my base has defenses that are spread out enough that will really come back to bite me. So the Wizards have been good enough to get cleanup and funneling done. Not really, I guess, because he still has to keep throwing these troops out on the outside. Everybody's going around things, and that's what I do like. I made it so that the Gourmet base is something that troops will tend to want to go around rather than into. Now, this base, I have to say, is very rarely, if ever, I don't even recall it being 3-starred by any other Town Hall 9s in war. Definitely by Town Hall 10s. And I'll tell you a good story about this base in another video, but I like this base so much. I've actually kept it for war with minor changes over the last multiple months. And as you can see, this time around, they're just barely getting to that 1 star again, but it's not going to be enough because in order for this clan to win, they have to get the 2nd star against me and me alone. They don't have any other options. We cleaned up so much that the few stars that are left are at the top anyway. And I was the only one that hadn't been 3-starred, or at least strongly 2-starred at this point. So the P.E.K.K.A. right here, it's still staying alive, but it's staying around, and that's kind of the disadvantage to P.E.K.K.A.s on this kind of a base. They want to go around rather than in, especially if you don't force them in with things like rage spells and wall breakers and so on. So this P.E.K.K.A., while it was a survivor, you got to give him some credit, but it's going to get taken out, and that's going to do it for the end of this battle. Things are even more intense on our side. We're watching this battle. We're going woohoo, and it's looking really, really good right now for us, but their number 2 can still face me, and hopefully we're going to see a victory as a result of it. Okay, so basically this is the grand finale battle of the war. I don't think it was the absolute last one, but this is the one that counted. This is the one where they needed to get that 2nd star on me in order to be able to secure the win. And so they try with a Go Hog this time. You notice that this is the 3rd different kind of army that I had to face, actually, in order for them to see if they could beat me. Now, since I do kind of like the Go Hog attacks in Town Hall 9, I did notice that they bunched up some Wizards here at first, which was not in their favor. As you can see, they're already taking some pretty heavy damage. They didn't quite get to the Dragon in time in order to stop them. The Golems are going around, but since you have the Hog Riders going in, he puts them in 2 waves. That's another thing that's going to make him pay, because he also wasted his spell on a jump spell. If you're going to have your Hogs separated in 2 squads like that, you got to have 4 heal spells to back them up. So as a result, The top squad there is probably going to get beaten up first. Well, now he favored it with another heal spell there. The last heal spell going to only one of these squads, one way or another, unless these guys meet up in the middle. But here's the problem. A lot of action is going on to stop them. You've still got some other defenses from the inside. Now they're starting to come back in, but guess what? Boom, baby. First giant bomb. For some reason, my double didn't go off until boom, right there. That stopped the hogs cold, and guess what? 49%. I gotta say, they didn't see that coming because they didn't get far enough in the core of my base to notice where the other giant bombs were. As a result, 42 to 41. So at this point, I just want to put in some afterthoughts and show you what the final stats were. You can see that there's a 0.67% difference in the tiebreaker for destruction, which means likely that if they did gain that second star on me, the damage they made in the process would have earned the tiebreaker for them as well. The war really was that close, and those guys, I gotta say, they were great opponents. They were very skilled, and they really challenged us. Problem was, we gained just about every one of those stars came in the first 6 hours, and we were very coordinated. We were very eager to get those battles done, especially the way that we saw things get started. So I'm very proud of my team for getting the job done that they did, and it was one of the best war performances we had as a team ever. So congratulations to my team, Pot of Gold. And then of course I'm thinking, of course I'm going to get most heroic defense. I got it 3 times in a row right at the end. That was awesome. I'm very proud of my base when it does that stuff defensively. So yeah, and as fast as we got the stars, I mean, we got pretty much all of our 42 stars within the first 6 hours of battle day. So a lot of our guys ended up being able to use their second attacks to see what they could do to loot at the number 1 base, and challenge themselves, as a Town Hall 6 or something like that versus a Town Hall 10. It was fun to play around with that, given that we had the leeway on offense. So at this point, I don't really want to sell our opponent short. They were a very competitive clan this time around. They definitely did do a great job, and they did keep the war very challenging and exciting throughout the day. So I just wanted to show off my defensive results there and the final score one more time here before we start to wrap this up. Thank you again for watching this video. If you want to see more content from me, you know what to do.